Helen here with Eyes on the Game here at a barbecue restaurant here in Las Vegas. And look who I run into, the world's strongest man / Olympian, WWE Hall of Famer, former world heavyweight champion, Mr. Mark Henry himself. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. So, well, first off, we are here, like I mentioned, at a barbecue restaurant. I won't eat on camera this time. What?
Why?
Well, because once I ate pizza on camera and everyone got mad at me.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's borderline hating.
You're right.
I can't hate.
Well, you can.
Crackling. There's nothing wrong with eating a little crackling on air.
You're right, and they do crackle. So, is barbecue your favorite food?
It is. Growing up in Texas, it's pretty common. Every city has a different style of barbecue, and it's like a constant competition going on. So, I try to go and partake of everybody's.
Well, what's your favorite thing to order?
Brisket. Being from Texas, I'm a beef guy, but I do like pork ribs.
They both sound really good.
Oh man, like a rib that's got like a little sweetness to it. That's my favorite. That's my jam.
And the tangy, the texture. You're making me hungry. Luckily, there's food. I know I may have to eat on camera pretty soon. But so speaking of barbecue though, and I'm gonna try not to talk much about it. But how's the barbecue in Vegas compared to Austin?
Well, I mean, nothing really compares to Texas barbecue, and everybody has, Memphis would say different, Carolina would say different, Kansas City would say different. Those are kind of the cities that have, kind of more barbecue histories. But I think that a place like this where the Michael Simon is a famous chef, and if he puts his emphasis and his input on a restaurant, then it's going to be good.
But have you tried JR's barbecue sauce? I saw you were on his show.
Yeah, I love JR sauce. I gotta have his mustard sauce in my refrigerator, and it's good. Like you can't just eat it just with barbecue. You can eat it with eggs. You can eat it with breakfast. I mean, it's good stuff.
A regular mustard, or is it barbecue mustard?
It's a barbecue sauce, but it's a mustard barbecue sauce. It's like I don't know what the percentage is, but you can taste the mustard, but you can tell it's barbecue sauce.
Oh, I'm gonna have to email JR. Hopefully,
send you a free bottle.
Yeah, hopefully my email doesn't go into his spam mails. But anyway, so here in Vegas, what brings you here?
Well, I'm here primarily for the Cauliflower Alley Club event. I'm receiving an award, and I'm very honored to be receiving the award. And but I'm also doing Monday nights with Mark Henry, where on Monday nights in select cities, I go and watch wrestling with fans. And I'm doing it at the Ainsworth. Oh, well, actually, it's not the Ainsworth. It's the same company, but this one is
Aces and Ales.
Aces and Ales. And man, I'm looking forward to getting over there and having fun with the fans.
So for the fans who may be in different cities and want to watch wrestling with you, how can they get more information on that?
Well, the best way is to go to markhenry.live.
Okay.
But, just follow me on social media, The Mark Henry on everything, and, look for posts. I try to post stuff as much as I can and hopefully get people interested in hanging out. And I'm more a down-to-earth guy. Like, people think that, I'm going to beat them up because they've watched my wrestling history for the last 23 years. I'm not going to hit nobody for free, I promise you.
Or pick up cars, right?
No, I'm not going to pick nothing heavy up. I mean, this pork rind is about the heaviest thing I'm going to lift today.
Hey, it's pretty heavy, though.
Maybe in calories, but they're light and fluffy.
But hey, well, it's cheat day. But speaking of your wrestling career, I know now you are more behind the scenes with the WWE. But about your career, though, what is kind of a memory that really, sticks out, or something that's prominent that when you look back, you're like, you know what, that was one of my favorite moments?
As far as my wrestling career, I'd have to say that the whole Mae Young saga is right up there with me winning the titles because of the significance it had on my career. It lasted this whole time, and I think it'll outlive me. Winning the title against Randy Orton and the heavyweight title was very important in my journey, and I definitely love the fact that I was able to have win the ECW World Championship, and my legacy with the Nation of Domination. There's no loss for different eras, but wrestling the Undertaker at WrestleMania 22 in the streak and being one of the main events of WrestleMania was a big deal. So I've had some shining moments.
Yeah, so many moments. And like you said, winning the title. And I believe when you did win, they said that you were only the 5th African-American to win a WWE title, right?
Well, I was the 4th at that time. Kofi Kingston is 1 now, so there's 5.
Yeah. What do you think of him, beating Daniel Bryan to win that at WrestleMania?
I thought it was an unbelievable thing for every little black kid that looks for somebody to kind of identify with. And Kofi has done a good job as an ambassador to African-American people, as well as wrestling fans. And, he's done a really, really good job of showing up and, being a guy that shows leadership. And that's more important to me than his color, is what kind of leader he is.
Now, you've had multiple nicknames, from the World's Strongest Man to Sexual Chocolate back in the time.
Why you start smiling when you said Sexual Chocolate?
Well, no, it's a cool nickname. Why you're smiling?
Because you made me smile.
Well,
funny.
Well, everyone loves chocolate, right?
Good, yes.
But do you think that at the time, and speaking of, just the evolution in general, do you think that Vince McMahon ever stereotyped gimmicks?
No, gimmicks are gimmicks. We're a mirror. The wrestling business is a mirror of the world. And sometimes we distort the image, but for the most part, it's the reflection that makes people love it or hate it. And, people look in the mirror and sometimes they love themselves and sometimes they hate themselves.
True. And what about The Rock? Do you guys still have, a good friendship?
Yes, we have a good relationship. And I actually spoke to his mother last week and, wished him well in this new movie that's coming out, Shaw and Hobbs. So he's a special dude. Even if you don't talk all the time, we get together, nothing's changed. Time is frozen.
Exactly. And that's good to have those friendships that you pick up where you left off.
Yeah. And that's the important thing about friendship.
Absolutely. And for the fans, though, are there any, funny moments, maybe traveling together or backstage between you and The Rock?
We always had a lot of funny moments, but I thought that he was crazy. We were driving from Detroit one time, and this song called Africa Bambaataa. It's an old school rap song, Planet Rock. And he's like, man, pull over. And I was like, what's wrong? He was like, man, just pull over. And I pulled over on the side of the road, and he got out of the passenger seat and started dancing, pop locking on the road. And I'm like, get your ass in the car. And he's like, and we ended up both dancing outside on the highway.
Pop locking.
Just crazy.
Well, you were starting to do it. I'm not a good dancer, but can you show us your moves?
Oh, man, I do a little wave, pass it to you. You pass it back.
How?
Like if I pass it to you, then you got to pass it.
With this hand?
Yeah. Yeah, see there? That's all it is. Pick it up. That's pop locking.
I have no rhythm.
We'll work on it.
Okay. And then also, what about Brock Lesnar? What do you think of his whole situation? And at WrestleMania, Paul Heyman saying that, just kind of making that speech that he'll be coming to Vegas where he's ultimately appreciated.
I think Brock is appreciated in the first place. I mean, him being a talent like he is, he don't really need to be there every day. I thought that was always a bad look for the fans to expect him to do like everybody else, because he was not like everybody else. And you know, there's always been a double standard, and there always will be a double standard. And Brock, the fighting world loves Brock because he's like Godzilla. He's like King Kong. He's a bigger than life entity, and I think that the fighting games needs a guy that he may not be the most polished fighter, but he's just so big and so strong that it just creates a mismatch that is hard to recover from. Strong,
but not world's strongest man.
Well, not world's strongest man, but he's really, really strong, and especially guys that are under 270 pounds. Naturally, he's going to be a lot stronger than they are.
What did you think of his career in the WWE, or not WWE, in the UFC, and if he does come back and fight Daniel Cormier?
You know, I think it would be good. I think that Brock, there was a couple of fights that Brock took too early. I think that he should have let his body heal, especially when he fought Overeem. He was coming off of that diverticulitis and injury, and Overeem just kicked him in the gut until he just couldn't defend himself. And I think that was a bad move for Brock. But I think Brock now is as healthy as I've seen him. And when I saw him last, he looked in incredible shape. You know, and you normally couldn't see abs and muscles and stuff. He was just a big, strong guy. Yeah. But now you can see it, like he's training.
Yeah, washboard.
I don't know about washboard, but he'll get your clothes clean.
Do you think that he'll be making that UFC return?
I think he will. I mean, there's no way that he would have lost 40 pounds if he didn't plan on fighting. You know, he can entertain at 280, 300 pounds, but if he's going to fight, he's going to have to be about 260 and in really good condition. And I think that's another reason why Brock had issues before, is his conditioning, because he was still wrestling and doing UFC. Wrestling and doing UFC. Now he's going to focus his attention on UFC, and I think he's going to give him as much problem as anybody has ever gave.
When do you think he'll make that return?
I don't know. I'm a fan like you. You know, I sit back and watch, and I know Daniel Cormier is training. Like, there's no way that with the thought of somebody like Brock coming back, that he wouldn't have the motivation. And every fighter, the thing that makes you special is the fact that you're able to overcome all the things and you want a challenge. And Daniel's been a champion from a young kid, so, you know, it's going to be good to see him get in there and battle with Brock.
And being a MMA and UFC fan yourself, who are some of your favorite fighters to watch?
I always like Anderson Silva. I like Dillashaw. I mean, even in Cormier, I mean, to see him do the things that he's done. Bones Jones is somebody that is real unorthodox, and you don't know what to expect. And he's kind of rangy. He can do stuff that other people can't do, especially big guys. So, you know, that's guys that I like.
Do you think that Jon Jones is currently the pound-for-pound best MMA fighter?
You know what? He's been gone for a while. I can't give a accolade like that to somebody that hasn't been able to go back and show, okay, I'm back. Yeah. And when that day comes, then I think that he will be, but I can't give that to him right now.
Who do you regard as a pound-for-pound greatest right now, then?
Oh, my gosh. You know, there's so many guys right now that warrant that kind of attention, but who has both belts?
Daniel Cormier did have to relinquish his light heavyweight. Huh?
He had to give one of the belts up?
Yeah, but he did have both.
Oh man, that's you know what? I've been out of the loop. That's hurting my soul right now.
That's what I'm here to tell you.
Just a little counseling.
Yeah, counseling with a little barbecue and cracklings.
Yeah. That you know, that usually makes me happy.
Yes. And but what about so TJ Dillashaw? I don't know if you heard, but recently he got caught for taking EPO. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not completely familiar with it, but anytime that you know there's any kind of drugs or blood doping or anything like that, I think it's a travesty for the sports.
What do you think should be done to kind of regulate it better?
Obviously, nothing is going to be done. I've been fighting it my whole life in weightlifting and powerlifting, and it just sucks that the sports that I love so much, they couldn't do better. And the same thing with the fight game. You know, people are going to try to cheat. And there's some people that subscribe to this theory, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying to win. Well, that's not true. There's a lot of people that go to the gym every day, and they want to be the best human being that they can be in the ring and out of it. And for these guys to compete against them, knowing I've taken the drugs or I've done blood doping, I have an advantage on you, like that sucks. That's just very pitiful.
What do you have to say, or what are your thoughts on people who cheat or the fighters who cheat and try to get away with it?
If you want to do that, go fight people that take drugs and y'all know y'all take drugs and you don't care. Y'all go do that. But if it's a sanctioned fight where you don't take drugs and you don't cheat, don't cheat. Leave that for the guys that want to be naturalists.
Exactly. And so before the cameras were rolling, you did talk to me briefly about video games. So now that we're on camera, I do want to talk to you about that. What are some of your favorite video games?
You know what? Back in the day, Tekken was always like one of my...
No way. Me too. Well, actually, my younger brother, but he always beat me at it, so I would get so mad.
I know who he used, too. Law. Yeah. That was my guy. I always used Law, and we got to the point to where me and the guys that I played, Shelton Benjamin was real good at this game. He used to beat me every time. Yeah. But it was like we both played with Law. So it was like, maybe if he played with a lesser fighter, then I could get him. But I never beat him. He was always real good.
What about Mortal Kombat? Did you play any of that?
I played a little Mortal Kombat, but I was more of a Street Fighter than Mortal Kombat.
Who was your Street Fighter character?
Honda. What? Put those palm strikes on them. That was my gimmick. Get everybody cornered. I always went forward once I got them pinned, and that's what big guys do. They get you pinned, get you cornered, and then they do their thing.
That's true. Did you ever compete in any of those tournaments?
No. I actually did go to the Madden World Championships in Miami at the American Airlines Arena probably like 10, 15 years ago, like it was just starting. Yeah. And man, that was like an unbelievable experience. It was like 6,000 people there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is that what you guys did during your breaks from wrestling? I know you guys traveled a lot, didn't have many breaks, but during the breaks, was it playing video games?
Well, we really didn't take breaks. I mean, like on the road, sometimes you have downtime. I would carry my system. I had a special bag with cushion and everything, carried my bag. Every city we went to, my games went with me.
Who was the best?
Everybody will say themselves, but if I had to pick, like, who was the best at Madden, I would say me. But the fighting games during that time, D'Lo Brown and Brian Christopher were pretty good. Now, you have Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins beat me in the championship of Madden a couple of years ago, and I still haven't lived it down. Every time you see me, remind me. But the Cowboys are a better team now, so we went Cowboys against Chicago, and maybe we need to play again.
Well, what did he win? Was there money in the pot, or?
It was. You had to buy in, a $20 buy-in. It was probably about $200 with all the guys that were playing. But the loser got chopped. Every time you lost, you got chopped. and I got the last chop. He got me.
Well, hey, that's what rematches are for.
Yeah, I need to get his ass back.
And so, are you a big football fan?
Love football.
Dallas Cowboys?
Dallas Cowboys, true and true.
But what about the Raiders coming here to Las Vegas? They are relocating here.
You know what? I'm happy for the Raider Nation. I think that despite the controversy of who they drafted first in this draft, they've got some free agent acquisitions, I think, that are going to pay dividends. The drafts were not that bad either. I don't think that they got young players. They got people that are going to be able to, be beneficial to them in the future years.
How well do you think that Antonio Brown will fit in?
Antonio Brown, if he's happy, he's the best wide receiver in the NFL. He's going to fit. Just throw him the ball.
Exactly. Yeah, that'll be. So does that mean we'll be able to see you in Las Vegas more? I mean, I know you're not the Raiders fan, but we're having a new stadium and,
If the Cowboys play the Raiders here, I'll come. That's for sure. Or if I had a reason to come here, people want me to come and do appearances and stuff like that, reach out to me. I'll come. I love Vegas.
And for all your fans, though, is there, any special fact about you or something that they may not know? Hidden talent, maybe you're a good singer, you showed your dance moves.
I didn't really show my dance moves. I got some special stuff, but I just hold back to not seem arrogant. I'm trying to be humble.
Like, is it DDR, that Dance Revolution?
No dance revolution. I'm talking old school soul, James Brown moves. I got to keep them to myself, though, unless somebody step up and I'm very competitive. So if I got challenged, then I break it out.
What do you think about, pro wrestling back then to the era now?
You know what? About every 15 years, wrestling does a reboot. And it's just a different style. See, I start talking about James Brown, and James Brown starts playing.
They heard you.
It was meant to be. But, wrestling just cycles. Like, I think that we are going to go back into characters again. I think that people want to see the clown. They want to see, the monster guy, businesses went away from that, and I think that it's coming back.
Who do you think is the best right now?
Seth Rollins is really talented. But right now, we don't have a dominant one person anymore. Due to guys retiring and the young revolution starting to change, the Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman, those guys are the ones that I see right off the bat. But there's still older guys that's still hanging around that's really, really good. AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston, Samoa Joe. There's guys that are really, really talented, and they're not going to just relinquish, that positioning. They want to stay at the top, and these young guys like Baron Corbin, they're going to have to come and take it from them.
But was there ever a wrestler who you thought had the potential to be great but never lived up to it?
Not really. I think that you are who you are, and there's a lot of guys that, maybe their role wasn't to be champion. So, you look at the UFC. Everybody wants to be champion, but there's only going to be one. So, it's just a constant fight.
And Conor was the champ. Conor McGregor, were you a fan of his, or are you?
I'm a fan of the fact that how much work he put in and that he was actually good at what he did. But, there were times where he would say stuff that I didn't think applied, especially as it related to pro wrestling. I wasn't a fan of everything he said. I don't think nobody was.
Do you think he would do well in the WWE?
Of course, he's an unbelievable talent, but he would have to monitor himself and and realize that there's weight classes in pro fighting. And in the WWE, you got a bunch of tough guys that don't fight, and there's no weight class. Yeah. So you got to be careful what you say.
And Ronda Rousey, what about her?
Ronda is one of my favorite people. I think that she's been able to do something that very few people have been able to do. And when I say very few, I can only think of one, Kurt Angle. And another outstanding, unbelievable talent that's transcendent. He would have been good at whatever he chose. So Ronda is definitely that. She's an unbelievable talent. And, I think that after she has this baby, that she'll come back and be even better than she was before.
Well, I greatly appreciate your time. I know your food's coming out. I'll let you eat the cracklings. But do you want to let all your fans know anything?
Well, keep up with me, the Mark Henry on everything social media. You can go to markhenry.live. You can always find out what I'm doing next. And come out and support. We'll have a good time.